وسابقت الأحبة في تلاوته وأنعم حين ألقاهم بلقياه ولي شيخ إذا رتلت ألمحه تقبلني من الإعجاب عينا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما منع الناس أن يؤمنوا إذ جاءهم الهدى إلا أن قالوا أبعث الله بشرا رسولا قل لو كان في الأرض ملائكة يمشون مطمئنين لنزلنا عليهم من السماء ملكا رسولا قل كفى بالله شهيدا بيني وبينكم إنه كان بعباده خبيرا بصيرا ومن يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد لهم أولياء من دونه ونحشرهم يوم القيامة على وجوههم عميا وبكما وصما مأواهم جهنم كلما خبت زدناهم سعيرا ذلك جزاؤهم بأنهم كفروا بآياتنا وقالوا أإذا كنا عظاما ورفاتا أإنا لمبعوثون خلقا جديدا أولم يروا أن الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض قادر على أن يخلق مثلهم وجعل لهم أجلا لا ريب فيه فأبى الظالمون إلا كفورا قل لو أنتم تملكون خزائن رحمة ربي إذا لأمسكتم خشية الإنفاق وكان الإنسان قتورا. Today we are starting from ayah number 96, but to put it into context, we are starting from ayah number 94, 2 ayahs before that, so we understand what this ayah is referring to. So in the previous lesson, the last ayahs that we discussed, they talked about the objections that people had against our beloved Prophet ﷺ. And one of those objections was that you are a human being, and as a human, you eat, you drink, you go shopping, and you have all these worldly necessities, okay, and you're basically the same as us. Why doesn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send an angel so that he can guide us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to that objection and said, قُلْ لَوْ كَانَ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَلَائِكَةٌ يَمْشُونَ مُطْمَئِنِّينَ لَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَلَكًا رَسُولًا. If the angels were the ones that had a prophet sent to them, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have sent an angel as a prophet. Because you are humans, we have to send a human example for you, who, despite having needs, despite having necessities, despite having to need to sleep, despite having wives, despite having children, he is still obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So similarly, O humans, you have to follow in this human's footsteps. If we send an angel to you, then you would have said that you don't need to drink, and you don't have wives, you don't have children, so it's easy for you to worship. We have all these needs and necessities, so it's impossible for us to do that. So go tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we cannot obey Him in the way that you can, because you don't have the same difficulties that we do. So this was the summary of the last 2 ayat that we discussed last week. Today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again tells the Prophet ﷺ how to address these people who have these objections. And if you remember, there were a few objections before that also. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet ﷺ, قُلْ, tell them, O Prophet of Allah, كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is enough as a witness between me and between you. So the concept of making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a witness, it is not something that should be taken lightly. In fact, when we tell when we take an oath and we make a qasam, it is actually saying that I am making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a witness that I did this or I didn't do this. I am making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a witness that I will do this. Okay, so when you say wallahi, billahi, tallahi, whatever word you use, I swear by Allah, qasam khatam, whatever language you use, you are saying that I am making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a witness. So if you are lying about that oath, basically you are putting a lie against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you say, I swear by Allah, I didn't do it. And you did do it. So basically you're saying that Allah is basically, I'm making a lie up about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah saw me that I didn't do it. It's a lie. So that's why this type of yameen, or take this type of oath, especially about the past tense, some scholars say that there is no kafara for it. It's impossible to give a kafara for it. And this is known in fiqh as al-yaminul ghamus. Ghams means that when a person actually dives into water, and he dives in such a way that his whole body is covered with the water, and he is basically surrounded completely by water. So this is known as ghams. So al-yaminul ghamus is called ghamus because a person is, because of the fact that he's taken this false oath, he is drowning in his own sin. That's how bad this taking of an oath is. So in this, Allah Ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ that you tell these people that have these objections against you that Allah is a witness between me and you. So it's seemingly it's a very innocuous and a very brief and simple ayah, but the reality is that here an oath is being taken by the Prophet ﷺ that I swear by Allah that I'm a prophet, and because I'm taking this oath, this is the gravity of this statement is between me and you, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to deal with you on the Day of Judgment when you find out that what I'm telling you is the truth. And also the word shaheed is being used. Shaheed, it as opposed to shahid. Shahid means one who witnesses, right? One who sees something. But shaheed in Arabic means one who's constantly seeing, constantly witnessing. The same thing with the word Sami', Basir, Rahim. Okay, so all of these words, they indicate a continuity of an action. So when you say something about a human, he's Sami', he is listening. He is listening temporarily. But Sami', he is listening at all times and he is hearing everything. Basir, as opposed to Basir. Basir means somebody who sees something but cannot see something beyond the wall. Basir, constantly seeing and seeing beyond the wall, beyond everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching everything and anything. This is Basir, continuous. So Shaheed here is also witnessing everything. إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِعِبَادِهِ خَبِيرًا بَصِيرًا. Indeed, he has always been with his slaves, Khabir, all-knowing, and Basir, all-watching. Again, Khabir, Basir, the wording indicates continuously aware of whatever's going on. Basir, continuously watching whatever's going on. So, what does this mean? That he's watching, he is aware, that means there'll be consequences. Not just that he's watching and there's no consequences, watching, knowing, and then there will be consequences after that for the people that continue to deny. وَمَن يَهْدِ اللَّهُ فَهُوَ الْمُهْتَدِ. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, that person is guided. وَمَن يُضْلِلْ فَلَن تَجِدَ لَهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِن دُونِي. Whoever Allah misguides, then you're not going to find any helper for those people other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this question and objection you may face from time to time, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to guide me, He would guide me. If He misguides me, then what can I do about it? So this is not an excuse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides those people that want guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides people that don't want guidance. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. So this is what tawfiq is. We always say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to do something. And we hear that all the time. You know, make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me tawfiq to go for Hajj. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the tawfiq to pray the 5 times daily prayer. Yes, the tawfiq is always there from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as long as we take the first step. And we want to do whatever it is that we want Allah to give us tawfiq for. So we do the actions, and then the consequences Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes for us and makes the way easy for us. You know, a person will never just say to a person, another person, make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me children, without getting married and without being intimate with his wife. Okay, you have to take these steps on your end first, and then ask people, scholars, ulama, pious people, please make dua for me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses me with children. Okay, do your bit first. The same thing applies for hidayah and guidance. If we all want guidance, then we have to make an effort for it, seek it, want it, strive for it, make an effort for it, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us guidance. So here Allah is saying, in response to those people that are placing objections in front of the Prophet ﷺ, that whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to guide, He will guide. And whoever He misguides, then you will never find any helper other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these people. So what it means is that these people that are wanting to object against you and are placing these objections, really they are just making excuses for not wanting guidance and not wanting to follow in your footsteps. وَنَحْشُرُهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ عُمْيًا وَبُكْمًا وَصُمًّا مَأْوَاهُمْ جَهَنَّمْ كُلَّمَا خَبَتْ زِدْنَاهُمْ سَعِيرًا. We will gather them on the Day of Judgment on their faces, blind and dumb and deaf. So basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather them ala wujuhihim, on their faces. And there are a couple of riwayats about this. Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu narrates, قِيلَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ كَيْفَ يُحْشَرُ النَّاسُ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ. How will people be resurrected on their faces? How will they be gathered on their faces? So he gave a very simple response. الَّذِي أَمْشَأَهُمْ عَلَى أَرْجُلِهِمْ قَادِرٌ عَلَى أَن يُمْشِيَهُمْ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ. The person, the one who gave them the ability to walk on their feet, he has the ability to make them also walk on their faces. Very simple. And you know, there are different ayat that talk about different body parts being able to talk on the Day of Judgment. The same Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gave our tongue the ability to speak in this world, He will give the rest of our body parts the ability to speak on the Day of Judgment. Object. Okay, He will say, لِمَا شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا. Why did you bear witness against us? قَالُوا أَنْتَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْتَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ خَلَقَكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Who gave the ability for all creation to speak, gave us the ability to speak right now. He created you in the first instance. The way that He created you, He recreated you, He made you speak first. Similarly, He's making us speak right now. So they will be gathered, and they will be gathered in this state of blindness, deafness and numbness. They will not be able to do anything, and they will be on their faces. Another riwayah, Hudhayfa ibn Usayd narrates that Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he stood up and said, Ya Bani Ghafar, قولوا ولا تحلفوا فإن صادق المسلوق حدثني. That the Prophet ﷺ, he narrated to me, الناس يحشرون على ثلاثة أفواج. There's going to be 3 different groups on the Day of Judgment. فوج راكبين طاعمين كاسين. There's going to be one group that are going to be riding on horses or animals or whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for them. And they will be طاعمين. They'll also be eating. They will be provided food. And be clothed. Allah will give them the clothing of Jannah even before they enter paradise. And then وَفَوْجٌ يَمْشُونَ وَيَسْعَوْنَ. There's also going to be a group that is walking and rushing. So one group, they have the highest honor, and then the second group, walking and rushing, وَفَوْجٌ تَسْحَبُهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ وَتَحْشُرُهُمْ إِلَى النَّارِ. There's going to be one group that is going to be dragging the people on their faces. The malaika are going to be dragging them by their faces and throwing them into the hellfire. So they're going to be dragged on their faces, and this is what it means. وَنَحْشُرُهُمْ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ, that we're going to gather them on their faces. They're going to be dragged on their faces and then thrown into the hellfire. مَأْوَاهُمْ جَهَنَّمْ, their abode is the hellfire. كُلَّمَا خَبَتْ زِدْنَاهُمْ سَعِيرًا. Each time they try to, or each time it calms down, this hellfire calms down, it is going to increase in its place. So they're going to be in the hellfire, it's going to calm down, and then when it re-emerges, it's going to become even more powerful than it was before, and it's going to hurt them even more than before. ذَلِكَ جَزَاؤُهُمْ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَقَالُوا أَإِذَا كُنَّا عِظَامًا وَرُفَاتًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ خَلْقًا جَدِيدًا. This will be their punishment. Why? Because they disbelieved in our signs, in our ayat. And they said, when we bones and rufata, rotten, basically decomposed, rufatan, أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ خَلْقًا جَدِيدًا. Are we going to be resurrected again in a new state? Okay, so this objection people have had all the time since the beginning. Okay, we see people die, they get decomposed, their bodies rot away. We never see them coming alive again. So is that going to actually happen? We only need to reflect upon our first creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us do all the time. Whenever this objection comes up, ponder in your first creation. How were you created in the first instance? The miracle of childbirth that you see happening every single day, how did that occur? How did that creation come into being? It was some semen from the side of the male, the egg that was in the womb of the female, and when they got together, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a human life from that. From this liquid, a human life came. Arms, legs, face, mouth, voice, the ability to digest, the ability to see, the ability to hear, it came from that. A miracle, but a miracle because we see it every single day, we take it for granted. Okay, we kind of think, well, a baby was born, no big deal. The reality is, it is a miracle happening right in front of our eyes. So Allah says this, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّ اللَّهَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ قَادِرٌ عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَخْلُقَ مِثْلَهُمْ وَجَعَلَ لَهُمْ أَجَلًا لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Did they not see that the one who created the heavens and the earth, and of course the heavens and the earth, meaning the whole universe, we just think about how insignificant we are in comparison to the rest of the creation that He created. The whole universe, light years, millions of light years for us to travel from one distance to the other. What does traveling light years means? You travel at the speed of light, something which is impossible. You will still not be, even if you travel at that speed, you will not be able to reach certain planets, for thousands of years. That's how huge this universe is. So that Allah who created everything, can He not recreate a simple human being again? He created him the first time, why can He not recreate him a second time? وَجَعَلَ لَهُمْ أَجَلًا لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. And He gave them an ajal, a fixed time that has no doubt in it. Meaning, each one of us are going to leave this world one day. There's no doubt in this whatsoever. Believer, disbeliever, kafir, mushrik, mu'min, Christian, Jew, each and every person, they believe that we have to leave this world one day. We all are going to leave. And each one has come with an allocated time. فَأَبَى الظَّالِمُونَ إِلَّا كُفُورًا. But despite seeing this, the wrongdoers, all they do is reject. They reject the message of Islam, and they reject the message of the Prophet ﷺ, and they say, how can it be that we're going to be resurrected again? There's one more ayah left. Inshallah, I'm going to do that next week. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand and practice what has been said and heard.
يعلمون